Hi everyone, Andrew Van Leeuwen from Speedcafe here. I'm joined by Stefan Bartholomaeus. We're going to preview the Melbourne Supersprint at Albert Park. Thanks to the Ford F-150, go big with the F-150. Stefan, we're in Melbourne. It's Grand Prix time. You and I have been coming to this event for probably longer than we care to admit.
Back when F1 wasn't cool.
Well, that's exactly right. Like, it wasn't always like this. Like, there's such a buzz around the event and a buzz around the city at this time of year. Like, it is, if you cast your mind back 10 years, like,
yeah,
it's an amazing transformation, isn't it?
Yeah, it used to be a sport for nerds, and now it's just the absolute place to be here in Melbourne on Grand Prix weekend.
What are we expecting to see? It's kind of a new era for supercars, right? They've got the new paddock. Obviously, once upon a time, they had their nice pit lane and their garages and everything was great, and then along came F2 and F3 and they got knocked out of there. I think we're still going to hear some grumbling about the fact that they don't have those niceties they used to have, but there's a new paddock set up. It's accessible to the public. This has got to be a step forward compared to what we had last year, right?
Definitely, and last year there were issues with the paddock not being open to the fans and to corporate guests for the teams. But either way, it is a change of pace for supercars. They are a support category here. This is what all the support categories deal with all the time, but hopefully now that they're on the outside of the circuit and it is more accessible for the fans to see that, yeah, it's a step forward from last year.
I guess it ties back to what we were just talking about, the growth of this event, in that even though it's not logistically ideal for these teams, they've got to be here, right? Like, they're already locked in for next year for supercars. The AGP sees a long-term future for the category at this event. Supercars can't afford to not be part of the best ticket in town, right?
That's a conversation that comes up from time to time, and it was certainly pretty rampant here last year, but it is a huge event, a lot of corporate interest, and yes, there are a lot of compromises, including the schedule. Massive day of supercars on Thursday, and then not too much track time for the rest of the weekend, but it is important that they are here on the big stage.
All right, what are we expecting to see this weekend? We've come from Sydney Motorsport Park for the first round. We call that a Mustang track. They generally go pretty good there.
It was a Cam Waters track. You needed one Mustang, it was the monster Mustang.
Are we expecting that to continue this weekend? Because this can be a bit of a Mustang track as well. We've actually seen the Mustangs do reasonably well here. Are we expecting Cam to keep that dominance up?
Yeah, well, last year, Cam, Chaz Mostert, and also Matt Payne, they all scored poles in Mustangs last year, but I think between the three of them, they managed to take each other out of most of the races, and the Triple Eight guys really came through, and then, of course, Nick Percat scoring that great win on the Sunday for Matt Stone Racing. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. You'd expect the Ford package to be fast, and from what we saw from Cam in Sydney, he comes in as the favourite.
Yeah. Sprint racing, is there a bit of pressure on the racing this year? Because it was so good last year, and I think everyone thinks back and goes, man, that was amazing. That format really works, and I think the format does work on this circuit. It's nice and wide, there's different lines you can take through corners, you can actually pass, but I feel like the pressure's on a little bit for the racing just because last year was so good.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and the danger with these races is that the first couple of laps when the tyres are coming up to pressure are frantic, and then it just sort of distills into a flat orbit. But what we saw last year with the way the tyre reacts to this circuit, there's what they call thermal degradation. Rather than actually wearing the tyre away, it overheats the surface. And we've got a different Dunlop control tyre this year, which is meant to be more durable, but how it reacts to this circuit and also through the weekend then when the Pirelli rubber goes down from not only F1 but the F2 and F3 as well is a big sort of variable here.
We have a new driver on the grid, a solo supercars debutant in Aaron Cameron, who moves into the BRT setup in place of Aaron Love. Just some thoughts around that. Surprised that a trigger was pulled, however it actually played out so soon into the new season when Aaron Love was given that reprieve of a second season, it seemed.
Yeah, certainly there was a lot of talk at the end of last year that this change could happen before the start of this season. So Aaron Cameron was clearly waiting in the wings for this opportunity, and it has come maybe a little earlier than we expected. Obviously there was a quite obvious issue with the two Blanchard cars coming together at Sydney Motorsport Park, which wouldn't have helped things. And yeah, clearly that was not working, and it's now a big opportunity for the other Aaron Cameron, to jump into a supercar as a full-time driver in a solo driver event. He starred with them in the Enduros last year, particularly at Bathurst. He was the fastest of those four Blanchard drivers. So I wouldn't like to put pressure on him by saying that he's going to be right there this weekend, but yeah, certainly an opportunity for him. There was a little bit of speed from James Courtney last year, and we were talking about the Mustangs like this sort of track, so yeah, who knows what we'll see from him.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating weekend. It always is here at Albert Park. Stay tuned to Speedcafe for all of the breaking news, race reports and race reaction across the entire weekend from Supercars, Formula One and everything else that's on track.